let's begin just getting the spine moving. So come onto hands and knees, and then either curl your toes under or flatten those feet out to find the ability to actually engage your leg tissues. Even though you're just resting on all fours, your legs are actually pushing into the floor a bit. And then same with your fingers and your hands. So you have some good activity there. And then once you feel that engagement with the lower body and upper body, just shift your body weight back more towards the feet and then more towards the hands, just waving through your available range of motion so you can feel what kind of options there are here today. Now, the activity in the hands and the legs will really give you a ton of information about that. So try to keep the legs engaged as you're moving, keep the arms engaged. Good. And then just turn up that engagement like super, super spicy, just for about 10 seconds. So it feels like you're moving through wet cement back and forth. Your legs and your arms are working no matter which direction you're moving. And then settle into a spot that feels like the middle, somewhere in the middle of the range you were just finding. Okay. And then let those legs and arms settle into about a 30% effort. So it's not quite as intense. And let's keep that as we go with the neck motion first. So pulling your chin into your neck, flexing the back of your neck, and then chin to chest. So you're rounding your upper back. And then keep that rounding happening as you move through your mid back, lower back. And then finally, what else can you get from the pelvis curling under? Just hold there for a second. Make sure your legs or arms are still contributing. And then keeping your tail curled up, start to reach your chin away from your neck. Stretching that front of your neck and then chin lifting to the ceiling. So now you're extending your upper back. Extending your mid back, trying to keep that tail curled, but knowing that it's gonna start moving here as we get into the lower back. And then actively trying to lift the tailbone any more that you can find. So you find that active sensation on the back of your body. Then keep that going, pull chin back into your neck. Find that stretch. And then chin to chest. Keeping your tail feathers as high as you can while you round through your rib cage, through your mid back, lower back. Good. And then finally curling your tailbone all the way under. Good. Just finishing there in flexion. All right. Now sit back as much as you can or want to just try to stretch out the sides of your body. So now you can actually walk your hands forward a little bit. If you don't want to sit all the way back, you can stretch those arms out. And this is just really a go by feel moment of trying to lengthen through the side of your body. Let your body move and wiggle however feels good. Breathing, nice deep inhales, long, slow exhales. You might be sitting your butt back to your heels or sitting your butt more up in the air. All of those are super viable options for finding that stretch along the side of your body. Just depends on what you're finding and feeling. Cool. All right. Now make your way back up to quadruped and sit those hips distinctly behind your knees. So it doesn't have to be all the way down to your heels, but just somewhere behind your knees. And then feel really clearly like you're trying to slide the floor out in front of you with your hands, but your hands are stuck to the ground. And use that to push your spine up towards the ceiling. So you're basically, you're rounding your spine a little bit, but the main feeling you're going for is your shoulder blades sliding off the side of your rib cage. Okay. And this just gets us a nice breathing position. So inhale through the nose, trying to fill up the back of your body. And then as you exhale, really push that ground away more, pushing your body back. Good. And then keep that position as you inhale through your nose, filling up the back of your body. And then a long, strong exhale, blowing out birthday candles, continuing to blow until you have no more air left. Then keep that engagement. Inhale again. So you're working yourself further and further up to the ceiling, using that push with your arms. Good. Give me 20 more seconds, breathing at your own pace, going for a strong, active exhale, using that defined contraction that you will keep as you inhale into the back of your ribs. Awesome. Last one here. All righty, and relax that, let that go. Okay, now come on to sideline position so we can work on the hips a bit, just from a sideline, comfortable head supported position. So grab that yoga block if you want it for your head or just your arm. Make sure you have room behind you so you're not gonna kick anything. Great. And then as you get set up there, don't worry about which side because we're going to do exactly the same thing on both sides. Just brace your body here. Feel your top arm either push into the ground or push into your other hand, just to find a little brace in your midsection. Okay. And then keep that brace and drive your top leg behind you. So you're going to drive that heel behind you, but keep a knee bend the whole time. So you're just finding how much can you extend your hip. And for now, because we just worked on the spine, go ahead and arch your back big time to reach that heel back further. So you can feel, oh, my spine could contribute to hip extension if I wanted that to happen. But then bring that knee back forward and collect your midsection. So your abs are strong, your pelvis is braced, it's not going to move. And now feel for how much hip extension you can get without your back arching at all. So you find that line or that limit. And then feeling into that effort, start to levitate that shin up towards the sky, going slow. So you're still extending your hip. And then smoothly start to bring that knee forward, arcing it up towards your armpit, trying to skirt right around that end range of your hip abduction. Good. Now, as you bring that knee around to your armpit, to your chest, once you get that knee in line with your body, just hold here as well. And notice that if you let your spine round, you could probably get that knee all the way to your chest or even like push into your chest. Okay. Now consciously bring your spine back to a neutral position and feel that limit at your hip where it's just hip, not spine. And then finish up, knee touches knee. Good. Just take a moment and breathe there. Relax your body. Whew. Okay. Now, to go the other way, let's just feel one other component of that hip control. So squeeze your knees together to start to feel some inner thigh contraction. And then go slowly as you start to head knee towards chest to see if you can still feel some inner thigh contraction, even as you start to flex your hip. And then as you're finishing flexion, you'll hand off that inner thigh contraction to some outer thigh contraction as you levitate your shin towards the sky. As you get to your end range, don't let your spine turn. Just start to rotate your thigh, going slower than your body might want to, so you can really find the feeling of contraction in that hip. All the way back behind, finding your hip extension muscles, which are mostly your hamstrings. And then maybe even finding your inner thigh again as your leg goes towards the floor before meeting up knee to knee. Okay, that was Moy talking from me. Do one more rep on your own, feeling into what you feel for. Go for it. Start going back behind you. I'm going to give you about 45 seconds to work this. So either get one nice slow rep or maybe a rep and some. Try to take that approach of feeling where you lose control and slowing down through that portion. So you can really look for the sensation that would control your leg there. Final 20 seconds. Can this feel like an ab or core exercise even while you're tuned into your hip? No. Very nice. Great work, CJ. Good. Five, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and head on to the other side. So again, like that first side, I want you to get a little bit of explicit feel of how your spine can try to jump in to help get more hip motion. So start with your knees out in front of you to kind of help block your spine a bit. And then whenever you're ready, start driving your heel behind you and find that hip extension. And when you think you're sort of getting into the end range of your hip, actively try to arch your spine to feel, oh, okay, I could get more movement of the leg here, but that movement is not occurring from the hip. I just want you to really feel that. You could try it even a couple times, like bring your spine back and then arch it again. And then each time you bring your spine back, try to send more extension into the hip itself. So you're actually feeling what muscles move the hip joint and not the spine. Okay, now on this next one, just bring your spine back together, find end range hip extension with just the hip. And then let's begin levitating that leg up towards the sky. So you're finding some abduction as high as you can without your spine turning, and then start to arc that knee forward. Bringing it around to cut across your front of your body. And then finishing up knee to knee. Okay, now let's try this flexion sort of compensation or coupling with your spine. So bring your knee to your chest, but then when you can't go any further with the leg, allow your spine to round, like I think in a cat position of cat-cow. And then consciously bring your spine back to neutral and feel that difference or that distinction between your hip and your spine motion. Just try it a couple times. Now it's almost impossible to like get all of that spinal motion out of the hip CAR, but the more aware you are of it, the more you're training your hip when you're trying to train your hip. So that's the whole idea. Okay. Now pause with your knees touching for a moment, get your spine feeling neutral, and then squeeze those knees together to clearly feel your inner thigh that you're going to keep on as you start going knee to chest into hip flexion. When you can't flex just the hip anymore, start to bring the shin towards the sky. Nice and high, start to rotate. Keep that height as best you can as you reach back into extension. And then keep extending the hip as you try to bring the shin as close to the ground as your hip structure will allow. Starting to come forward, knee to knee. Okay. Go ahead and do one more rep on your own, 45 seconds of motion. Again, if you finish your CAR early, please offer your hip a little bit more training, even if it's just a portion of a CAR. Keep that work going. Good. 20 seconds. If you're feeling some fatigue, that's actually a good sign. It means you're running up against your body's perceived limit. And now you get to lean into that limit just a little bit or a lot of it, depending on what you're looking for today out of this class. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Awesome work, y'all. Okay, so go ahead and just come up to seated. We're going to do a very quick ankle CAR, basically just as a test, because we're going to be focusing so much on the ankles. What I mean by a test is not like I'm going to grade you, but like you're going to be able to retest it later, okay? So go ahead and hug your right thigh, okay? However that hug feels best for you. And then go gas pedal up first, And I'm going to use gas pedal up to mean dorsiflexion today, but whenever you hear gas pedal up, no, I'm talking about that dorsiflexion shape of your ankle. Okay, so all the muscles that would work to pull your ankle into this position. And then start to tilt the bottom of your foot out to the side while keeping that gas pedal up. And then keep tilting the foot as you start to give away gas pedal up in favor of gas pedal down, also known as plantar flexion. Okay. Once you ramp out plantar flexion, start to tilt the bottom of your foot towards your other leg. So you're like scooping the bottom of your foot. And then keep that scooping going as you slowly move up to gas pedal up. All right, once you get to dorsiflexion or gas pedal up, go the opposite direction. So the direction we just went. And you're basically trying to do a little inventory. Can you feel clear contraction of each line of tissue that pulls you into each position of this CAR? Do you have 360-degree coverage of control? Or are there some circle parts that are jumpy or a little weak feeling? Okay. Once you finish up that rep, just let the leg go. We're going to do the other side. Okay. So just again, one quick test rep so we have something to compare to later. So gas pedal up. Start going out to the side. So you're everting your ankle, turning the bottom of your foot away from your other leg as a means of getting down into plantar flexion or gas pedal down. And then starting to invert your ankle by scooping the bottom of your foot, almost like you're trying to turn it up towards your face. Using that to get all the way up to dorsiflexion, and then go the other way. Taking a look at where your ankle is moving smoothly and any portions where your ankle is not moving smoothly, and finishing up that rep. Okay, very nice. Let that go. So now come up to standing, and you'll probably want to hold on to something like a wall or a chair, just something so that you have some good balance. So once you're holding onto the wall, look, you take a look down at your feet and see that they're sort of parallel to each other-ish. Doesn't have to be exact. Okay, and then start feeling like gas pedal down sensation, meaning push the forefoot part of your feet into the ground, so your toes and the front of your foot. Yeah, until your heels start to levitate off the ground. But go slow here because I want you to feel what muscles are doing that in the back of your lower leg. Okay, as you get a feel for those calf tissues starting to contract, ask them to contract more in order to find your end range of lift here. Okay. And then keep focusing on your calf tissue as you start lowering your heels down. And as they touch the ground, don't relax back into your heels, but go right back up. So we're slowly doing calf raises, but notice I'm not saying just lift up and drop down, because I think there's a way that your body loses focus on your calf tissues when you do it that way. So go at the pace that allows you to focus on your calf tissues. Starting to feel some good fatigue. These are incredible muscles in our body. They're very well placed for leverage. So they get a lot of, they offer a lot of strength. And they're also, their muscle fiber makeup makes them super resistant to fatigue. They're just incredible tissues for bipedal animals. Give me 10 more seconds of trying to really connect in with those tissues. And then settle down to the ground. Okay, now Debbie, go ahead, face head on so they can see this way. Okay, and I'm just giving her something to hold on to. Now, something that's very common to happen when you do that calf raise is to come all the way up at the top, and then, yeah, your heels, she did it perfectly. The heels actually rolled out, right? And that's sort of a means where our body is like, oh, I can't hang out at that end range position, so I'm going to roll out. Yeah, it can be balanced for sure, but it's also a very common tendency at that end range. So go ahead and turn your toes out. We're going to try to get more coverage of the calves and just turn them out as much as feels doable, kind of holdable, and then start to press the forefoot down into the ground again to levitate your heels, but only go as high as you can without your heels rolling outward, without rolling those ankles. And then come back down and start doing that same motion up and down, noticing that there's a different part of your calf that gets pulled into action or gets fatigued here than when we were just straight forward. Just tuning into that. Yeah. And reset your feet as you need to. But keep the focus on the tissue in your lower leg and not just turn it into a motion that you're repeating because your coach said so. Good. Last 10 seconds. Can you especially focus on what your big toe is doing and helping with? Good. And settle down to heels. Okay. And now last thing, you feeling some burn in your calves, Debbie? A little bit? Little bit?
Leg.
Whole leg. Okay. Turn your toes inward. Okay. This is the long forgotten ballet position. So here you're going to really have to focus on your big toe joint, staying connected to the ground to not allow your heels to roll out. So go slow here. Find, make sure you have balance and start to levitate those heels. Maybe feeling a more inner part of your calf that's working to lift you up, and then smoothly lowering down. But again, keeping the focus on the tissue that you're fatiguing, not merely on the position or the movement that you're creating. Good. Keeping those tissues under tension. 20 more seconds. Feeling how your body probably wants to shift forward, but you can actually make this way harder if you keep your weight back. Feel how that actually puts more demand on the tissues. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Relax down. Okay. So my goal here again was just to really bring a lot of blood into that tissue and bring a lot of awareness. But go ahead now, come down to seated on a chair or a couch and make sure you have your ball. So from a seated position, just you're going to park that ball now. Actually, let's just get some orientation of the foot. So if you lift your foot for a second, we're going to see here the lateral. Well, usually when people talk about the arch of the foot, they're talking about this medial arch, the part that kind of looks like an arch. Sorry. Okay. The part we're focusing on today is going to be the lateral arch, which is also an arch. And if you meet someone with really high arches, they will actually have space underneath that outside of their foot. There's also one more arch that foot nerds will sometimes talk about, which is this arch, the transverse arch across the foot, which we might also get into with the ball a little bit. But again, we're going to focus on the outside of the foot with the ball. So go ahead and park your foot on that ball. And from a seated position, you have a nice chance to just sort of go slow, but begin using the ball to feel into how tender is that tissue, how much sensation is there. Do you feel any spots that feel really like they want some pressure? There's a lot to be found in terms of the tissue quality in the foot. And without getting into like making sense of everything right now, I just want you to feel into what's tight, but really specifically focusing on the outside arch of the foot. Okay. You're just looking for areas that maybe, again, feel tight or are sort of gummed up tissue. Like if you could sit on them with the ball for a second, they might start to melt a little bit and become more like other tissue you're finding in your foot. Good. Make sure you cover back towards the heel. You feel how that tissue sensation is, and then more towards the pinky toe. Just giving you about 20 more seconds to explore this foot. Okay. Now go slower as you settle on to one point that either feels very gummed up for you or that you just stands out to you. Okay. We just got to pick one spot. Okay. So once you've picked that spot, pause, don't keep moving, and just start trying as best you can to contract that tissue that is touching the ball. So basically the simplest way to think of that is try to like squeeze or wrap the tissue around the ball, ramp that up to a nice clear effort, and then slowly relax that exact area and let the ball punch back into the tissue. Okay. On this next ramp up of contraction, use your breath. So slowly start breathing in through your nose as you begin trying to bite down on that ball that you feel like you're trying to almost pick it up off the ground. And then slowly breathe out as you let the ball come back into the tissue and relax that tissue. Okay. Give me just another 30 seconds of this IsoRamping, breathing in to build up and ramp up a contraction. And then breathing out to slowly melt away that contraction. Good. Great stuff. Okay. Relax through your last one and then switch the ball over to the other foot. Cool. So again, start with the ball on the outside edge of your foot and just start scanning up and down, getting a feel for what parts of the tissue or parts of the bottom of your foot are different than the other parts. Good. I also like this setup because you can use the leg and the arms on the leg to kind of provide a little bit more pressure if there's a spot that feels a little ouchy or a little stiffer. Right now, the goal is really just to use pressure and touch, like if a massage therapist was working on your foot. Okay. Then slowly settle onto one spot you're going to focus your IsoRamping on. Okay. Once you feel it, go slow. Slowly start breathing in and start trying to contract as best you can exactly the tissues that are touching that ball. That's not going to feel that doable at first. That's exactly why we're practicing. And then as you relax, breathe out and let the ball back into that tissue as it yields. Okay, ramping up, trying to ramp up roughly, you could use a 10 count to ramp up to your maximum. And then a slow 10 count back down. So you're helping your body learn how to control those tissues. Good stuff. Give those feet just a little bit more extra awareness. Okay. And then let it go. Final one. All right, very nice. So now lose the ball for now. Of course, we could keep going, especially if your feet feel really locked up. You could go for another 10 minutes and just find spots and work IsoRamping. But for now, Get those heels, kind of slide them into whatever chair you're working with so that they're pretty close. Okay. Stay forward. Yep. So the heels are pretty close to you, and you find where you can barely lift the forefoot when you go gas pedal up. Okay. So this is, yeah, you want to get that spot where you're lifting the forefoot, but you're barely able to get the pads of your feet off the ground. So you do want to find a little gap, but just barely. Okay. And then once you have that, start to round the bottoms of your feet, which should feel a little more clear now, rounding your toes and arching the bottom of your feet. So you can kind of see here, it's almost like Debbie's trying to pick something up off the ground here. So you're really contracting the bottoms of your feet. And then start to go the opposite way with your toes, but keep the pads of your forefeet off the ground. Okay, so we're just working the mobility of your midfoot joint. Curl those toes under, and then scoop those toes back up to the ceiling. The whole time, yeah, the arch of your foot is off the ground. The pads of your foot are off the ground. And this positioning for your body just means that you're immediately aware if you lose any of that contraction on the front of your shin. Couple more. If you're feeling some burning, this is good. This is your brain feeling into its edge. Last one, try to cramp the bottoms of your feet, squeeze, pick something up off the ground, and then relax. Very nice. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Maybe you're feeling where Debbie's feeling it. I hope so. In the front of the shin. Turns out those muscles are some of the most important for knee health, knee function, and also like any sort of running or bounding or skipping that you're trying to do. Okay. So go ahead, come up to standing, and let's feel into those tissues a little more clearly. Yeah, give yourself something to hold on to for balance. We'll do one foot at a time. Start, just lift up maybe your right forefoot into dorsiflexion. Don't let your body move, just the ankle. And then tap the bottom of your foot down to the ground and right back up. Tap, tap, tap. Now start speeding it up, but make sure that you're never letting your foot rest anywhere but at the top. Okay? So it's like you're waiting for someone. You're like, what the heck? Where's that person? Good. Last 15 seconds. Can you speed it up even more? Link, 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 link. So you're finding that repetitive or rhythmic motion. Building some fatigue. Good. And relax. Shake that leg out. Woo. Okay, try the other side. Go slow at first. Tap, hold, tap, hold. Noticing if your hip or your knee or some other part of your body is trying to change shape to compensate. And then as you get a sense for it, start finding faster rhythm. And then go full Sonic the Hedgehog style. Pop, 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 pop. You can't do that. That's okay. If you have a new ACL like Debbie, then you get a free pass for this being super hard. Or if for any reason this is super hard, all good, because right now you're making it better for your body. You're making your body more effective at it. Give me 8 more seconds. Lean into that fatigue. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Awesome. Okay, very nice. So now go ahead, come back to your seat. And we're going to work into those ankle CARs a little bit more, but now including the knee, okay? Including that knee joint. So sit back in your chair so your thigh is supported, but your other foot, we'll start with the right leg. So your left foot is on the ground and stable. And then lock out your your right knee so that you're feeling your kneecap pull up. Yeah, okay, so you're locking that knee. And you can relax the knee and then lock it again and maybe put your hands on your quad so you can feel what muscles are really working in there to lock your knee out. Okay. Cool. All right. On the next one, hold that end range position so that you feel your quads are staying active and you can feel your thigh, because we don't want your thigh to rotate here as we work that ankle. So go gas pedal up, which should feel very clear. and start tilting the bottom of your foot towards the other leg for inversion. Use that inversion to go all the way down to gas pedal down. Find your calf tissues, even while your knee stays straight, and then start going out to the side. Do not let your thigh roll, just the ankle. And then continue all the way back up to dorsiflexion, and then let's go the other way. So we're doing an ankle CAR, just with a different knee position now. Through plantar flexion, through inversion, and then set that leg down. Good. Okay, take a moment. Find the knee lock on the other side, making sure your other foot is firm on the ground so your body feels secure. Then just try that knee extension a couple times to really feel into it. Find it. It might be super obvious on one side and super foggy on the other side. So use your fingers to help upgrade your sense of yourself. Okay. And then on this next knee extension, hold it. And you know, your brain is literally sending electrical signals to those muscles in your thigh. Can you clarify those signals so they're super clear and super steady? And then keep that as we do an ankle CAR. Gas pedal up, invert your ankle, bottom of foot turning towards the other leg, and then use that to go down to plantar flexion, and then bottom of foot tilting away from your other leg to go into eversion. Finally back up to dorsiflexion, and then go the other way. Good. As you make your way back around to dorsiflexion, relax that leg. Okay. Now this is a little bit, for time's sake, I'm not going to cover all 4 zones, but I want you to imagine that the circle you make with your foot motion, we could divide it up into 4 segments, sort of the gas pedal up portion, the gas pedal down portion, and then the intermediate portion getting through eversion or inversion. Now, usually people will have some stickiness or some jumpiness in one of those 2 side portions of the CAR. So basically when you're going from plantar flexion to, or dorsiflexion to plantar flexion, or you're going that other side. Okay, so I want you to go back to the first leg, lock your knee out, and you're gonna pick one zone that we're gonna just scan through and try to burn out the tissue for, okay? So if you're tilting the bottom of your foot towards the other leg and that's the zone you're covering, you can kind of feel into that. We haven't started the set yet. If you're tilting the bottom of your foot away from the other leg and scanning, you're just kind of going from plantar to dorsiflexion in eversion like Debbie's showing, okay? Pick which side you're going to work on. All right, and now lock that knee out. Find as much of either inversion or eversion as you can, and focus on what tissues are contracting. Just like when we were doing the calf raises, if it's tilting away, you're going to look for that tissue on the side of your calf or side of your lower leg. If it's tilting in, you're looking for it on the inner side of the lower leg. And just hyperfixate in on that tissue for 30 seconds now, trying to fatigue that exact area that's controlling the motion from dorsiflexion to plantar flexion through that inversion or eversion. And since you're looking at it, you can see if it jumps. You can see if what you're feeling and what you're seeing don't agree, and you can just try to clarify it. 12 more seconds. Good. 3, 2, 1, relax. Very nice. Okay. Now, if you're feeling the rest of your body or you're feeling like you're getting some fatigue here, that's cool. That's a good thing. It doesn't mean you're not doing it right or that you're not strong enough. It means you're playing into your edge. So just a vote of confidence for you as we switch to the other side. Okay. Yeah, it looks like Debbie's going to kind of prop up the calf. She's still going to lock the knee out, but this might feel a little bit safer or more clear. So once you lock that knee out, play with, are you going to work on the eversion side or more of the inversion side? Doesn't really matter which one. It just matters that you're working on sort of your weakest link. All right. Now take a breath, kind of reset, get ready for your work set. 30 seconds of high intensity here. Knee locked. Start to go from dorsiflexion to plantar flexion, focusing on how much can you tilt the bottom of your foot in the direction you've chosen. Constantly asking, can you find more length on the opening side because you can find more contraction clarity on the closing or shortening side. Good. Very nice. 10 seconds to go, y'all. Stay with the work. Try to build the fatigue in that closing angle side of the joint. 3, 2, 1, and relax it. Okay. Cool. Go ahead, let that go. And I would like you to come up to standing now. And this one, it really is important that you have your hands on like a desk or a table or something, so that you can really trust and lean on. So I'm gonna have Debbie work like this, actually. Nice high box, because I want her to be able to place her forearms on it and kind of lean forward onto it. If you didn't have such a high surface, you could use a table and just use straight arms, but make sure that you can really like lean over onto it. Yeah, so that it's you have that available to you when we start trying to get into the foot, because this one is a super nice setup, but it does rely on the upper body lean. Now, once you're here, you're gonna just step one foot on top of the other. So I'll help Debbie feel it. Let's do actually the other foot. So step one foot on top of the other, because we're trying to focus on this midfoot part, kind of getting dropped towards the ground. So you do have to feel into this, but this top leg is going to be pushing down, like you're trying to almost collapse your arch. You can bend the top leg for sure. You could even bend the stretching leg a little bit to feel into how when you unlock your knee, you might be able to collapse your arch further. Okay. Now that sounds really dramatic and scary when I say like collapse your arch, but that's just a super normal thing that our feet do, which is to be able to move in that way. It's basically part of ankle eversion. Is can your midfoot drop? So just try to settle into an angle where your the arch is basically as close to the ground as you can get, feeling into a stretch in the inner part of the ankle. Okay, and then just take a breath there and make sure your body feels safe and secure, settling into that sort of collapsed midfoot position. Last thing I'll mention is that the pull on your skin can also feel really, really helpful for this. So basically you'd be trying to pull the skin off towards the outside of your foot, which could increase the stretch that you're finding on the inside part of your ankle. Okay. Now keep it still here, stay parked here just for about another minute as we start playing with some pails. So start asking the front part of your foot, that forefoot and toe area, to get heavier, but keep your heel on the ground. So it's like we're going into the calf raise, but you're not actually going to lift your heel. And this is potentially a way to feel that stretching side of your ankle beginning to come under tension. You feel a little bit of that? Good. Now, as you relax the effort of forefoot down or gas pedal down, see if you can sink deeper into your arch. And then we're just going to do one more pails here. Start thinking gas pedal down, toes and forefoot getting heavier. Maybe all the way to the point where your heel would start to come up, but we're not actually losing contact with the ground. So we're really engaging the calf as well as the ankle tissue. Hold this. 5, 4, 3, 2, Slowly relax back into a stretch. Take a breath in your stretch before you come out of this position. Okay, now whenever you feel that stretch again, just go ahead, come out of it, take a little walk around your space, kind of clear the system. And now you know what you're looking for on this other side. So it's usually even a little bit better on this other side. So settle on to that structure, whatever you're using for a support surface. And then your top foot is going to camp out on your bottom stretching foot. Yep. And since you kind of have an idea now, you want to set up in a way that would allow you to focus on pulling the skin away from your arch, even while you're putting pressure down towards the floor. So like try to park it even closer. Yeah. You feel that?
Yeah.
How it pulls the skin. Okay. Because remember, I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. The skin is just another form of connective tissue. So that's sort of where your fascia, if you know fascia, that's where your fascia sort of starts in terms of the surface. And it just goes deeper and deeper and deeper. So as you're getting a sense here, allow both knees to bend, little micro motion to see what angle or what position of pressure allows you to collapse that arch down towards the floor, but really allows you to feel a stretch through this key part of the ankle joint, which is that inside medial bone of the tibia all the way to that medial arch. Breathing into that. Okay. Nice. Okay. Now, as you get a sense for that area, sense of that skin pull or that stretch, let's start a little tester pail. So start making your toes and forefoot heavy into the ground. Feeling what turns on in the back of your lower leg, and see if you can connect that with that sensation of stretch. Hold it. Now slowly relax it. Okay. Settle into that stretch even better. Like, so the top leg is going to block you even more clearly. And then here we go for your real send it pails effort. Start making your forefoot heavy. Ramp that up until you're just south of a calf raise level of intensity in that back of your leg. Good. And hold it. Pails contracting. Lengthen tissue. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, and slowly melt back to a stretch. Take a breath in your stretch. And then go ahead and come on out of it. Take another little walk around the room. Okay, feeling into your feet and your ankles, maybe in a new way. Now, let's go ahead and leave the ankles for a second, come back into quadruped, and we're going to do just one nice intense set for the structures in the hip that have the biggest impact on how your ankles function. So coming into quadruped here, start driving one side, one heel up to the ceiling. And again, like before, just let your spine arch for a second so you can feel, oh, that's the motion of my back. We don't want that. Then bring the back into a neutral position and focus on just extending your hip. Okay. Now in this position, while you're holding and working, feel the back of your leg and imagine that there's a light on the bottom of your foot pointing straight up to the ceiling. Start bringing your leg out to the side, but don't let that light on the bottom of your foot stop pointing towards the ceiling. Okay. And then go back into extension. So we're just going out to the side as far as you can keep that foot pointing upward and then back behind you. All right. Give me 10 more seconds of scanning here. Finding your hamstring, finding your abs so that your spine isn't arching. 3, 2, and 1. Relax that leg down. Shake out your neck and your elbows and your wrists for a second. Let's get the other side. So brace, drive your other leg back behind you, and find that big back arch for a second so you can really feel what we don't want in terms of motion, and then collect your spine back and only extend your hip. Really spicy effort in the back of the thigh tissues. And then imagining the bottom of your foot is lit up towards the ceiling. Start moving your leg out to the side, only as far as you can sense that the bottom of your foot is still facing the ceiling. And then bring it back. Good. Finding those hip tissues on the back of your thigh. Nice, strong effort. 12 more seconds. Good. And set that leg down. Okay. So as you shake out your head and neck, that spot where the bottom of your foot would stop facing towards the ceiling, that is a key spot. Okay. So we're going to get, in a moment, we're going to go to first leg again. We're going to get to that spot where the bottom of your foot would stop facing towards the ceiling. And we're just going to focus right there and try to twist the thigh bone right at that angle for about 20 seconds. Okay. That should be a very intense contraction for your hip tissues, which means the rest of your body has to be very braced. All right. So come into your best brace yet. Drive that first leg back behind you. Find hip extension. Find hip extension first, full extension of the hip. And then send that leg out to the side. And the moment you feel like your thigh is starting to rotate, pause there and just rotate the thigh back and forth while you're holding this angle of your leg, trying to feel just a twist of your thigh bone as far as you can in each direction. We are doing a hip capsule CAR at this specific angle. Good. Really finding complete stops. Great work. 10 more seconds. Keep that knee bent. There you go. So you're twisting your thigh. 2, 1, and relax. Great. Shake out your neck, shake out your wrists. This is intense work. In a way, the more specific we get, the more intense it has to be so that your body doesn't lose focus on the area we're trying to train. So staying with it. Let's go back to that second leg. Find end range extension. So it's only the hip, finding that back of thigh tissue, and then start to send the leg out to the side. The moment you perceive that your foot is no longer facing up to the ceiling, that's your angle. Start twisting the thigh and then back the other way. It might be a micro twist, but do it slowly. Yeah, slow that down, Diana. Try to really go through wet cement. There we go. 10 seconds. Breathing, feeling the whole body working. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Melt it down. Okay. Go ahead and lay down on your back. As promised, we need to retest those ankles, but let's do it from a nice supine, relaxed position. Okay. So once you lay down on your back, just take a moment, arch your spine back and forth a little bit so that you can find the positioning where your lower back is firmly in contact with the ground. Okay. And then settle there. And then reach one leg straight up to the sky or as whatever angle you can get to with a locked knee. You can put your fingers on those quads again to help you find an extended knee. Good. And then whatever angle you can get of the leg that allows your lower back to be straight. Okay. Now keep your body in this position, stare down that ankle, and let's go for an ankle CAR here. Gas pedal up, start to tilt the bottom of your foot away from the other leg. Moving through to gas pedal down. And then bottom of foot faces towards your other leg to get you back to gas pedal up. And then tick-tock it the other way. Keep breathing, but move at your own pace for the next 30 seconds, allowing your body and your brain to upload any of these changes that we've made throughout the class, and giving you a chance to sort of reassess, retest what is going on at the ankle, what you feel, what you don't feel. Final 10 seconds, breathing. And relax. All the way setting down that foot, bend that knee, and then feel into your spine again so we can get the other side. Here we go. Lock your knee. Find the maximum angle you can get to without your back leaving the ground or arching away. And then start your ankle CAR here. Gas pedal up. Start tilting the bottom of your foot. And really not allowing the thigh to twist. It will try to. But really focusing that motion right into the actual ankle joint, where the bottom of your leg meets the top of your foot. Last 15 seconds, make sure your kneecap is still pulled up nice and strong to support. Lock your knee out of this equation. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, y'all. Very nice work today. Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you, everybody.
Great
Bye.
to see you all.